Torah portion tells us that when Yaakov meets his brother Esau, knowing that Esau could possibly still bear a grudge and possibly means harm to him, shares with him the following message. Lavan Garti. I want you to know, my brother Esau, that I lived with our uncle, Lavan, this very selfish, nefarious, thieving, conniving gentleman. But for over 20 years, no less. And yet, Lavan Garti, sending Esau a hidden message because the word Garti has a numerical value. And many times in Judaism, when we have a word that our sages share with us, that not only is the word meant to be translated, but its numerical value is there to teach us also a more hidden message. The word Garti has a numerical equivalency to the number 613. So Yaakov is telling Esau, I want you to know that I lived with our uncle, and yet I did not learn from his ways, which means that I still observed the traditions of our father Isaac and our mother Rivka. I still am the same Yaakov. I'm still behaving in a righteous and noble and moral way. Sort of telling Esau that I have still a divine protection, a divine providence over myself and our family and my family. But there is an interesting little twist, that Yaakov actually wasn't trying to send a message to Esau, sharing with him, which seems a little bit to be self-complimentary. But rather, Yaakov was telling Esau that I really lived with someone who was a no-goodnik, but I didn't learn an important way of behavior from him. In Lavan Garti, I lived with him, but yet I failed to learn from him something that would have helped me in my own service towards my Creator. Because when I lived with Lavan, I realized that when he wanted something badly, when he wanted me to marry Leah instead of Rachel, he stopped at nothing and stooped at nothing in order to get it accomplished. When he wanted money, when he wanted anything that his heart desired, nothing could possibly get in his way and hinder his road to achieving it. And Yaakov thought, obviously I would never do something that would be transgressing the very will to acquire something, but I failed to learn from him his commitment and his sense of willpower when he had his eyes on something that he wanted very badly. And in some way, the Rebbe once stated to an Israeli statesman that in some way we need to learn from our neighboring Arabs. Now, although it is all being channeled in a terrible way, but they are educating their children to be dedicated to hate, to be dedicated to destroying their neighbors, Jewish people. They are educating a generation to somehow live themselves to a higher will, even at the cost of their own lives. And while all of this, like Lavan's life himself, is crazy and terrible and evil, nonetheless, we can still learn from them that in our own lives, and especially when we're trying to achieve goodness and godliness and trying to be helpful to people in this world, that we should try to achieve those goals and never consider the obstacles that are standing in our way. We need to learn from our neighbors how much they're committed to evil. We need to be more committed to good. Have a good Shabbos.